people ask me all the time, well, what does HUD think of this, or what does the government think of this, or how do they view co-living? And others, we'll get into the regulations question in a little bit, but I'd love for you to kind of tell what you've done at a federal level to promote co-living. I know you were a big part of getting a recommendation from HUD, and I'd love for you to kind of tell that story and then just share the recommendation that they did make. I share it all the time, and I always give you and your team credit when I share it. But I'd love for that story to be told on here.
Yeah. I think there are really only two weapons, if you will, in our arsenal to kind of fight the policy battle. One is you have these anecdotal stories of transformational life impacts from these individuals who, but for this opportunity, would not have been able to make that change, would not have been able to move out of homelessness into housing, even though they were working full time, would not have been able to get their own apartment, start their own business, get their own house, whatever, buy a car. And then the other one is the data, right? And at this point, we've had well over 15,000 stays, and of course, we're tracking incomes of those individuals. We're surveying them for, hey, what were you doing before? How much money are you saving each month because of the solution? We report all on-time payments to the credit bureaus, so we can see what their change in FICO score is. Generally, we're tied into their, I won't say bank account, because a lot of them are unbanked or underbanked. They're still using prepaid debits. So we're tied into a lot of that card activity, and you can see what they've been spending on before, what they're spending on now, and in some cases, what they spend on later. And so, like, tracking all of that data and those use cases, you can start to demonstrate pretty clearly how you are creating measurable impact. And whether it is the average member saving $330 a month, or moving someone closer to their ailing grandmother, their grandson, their new job, people who are able to move from one location or one city to another because of a job change, or just something that they always, kind of a life change that they always wanted to make but didn't feel like they had the ability to. And so you can kind of track these things on both an anecdotal level and on a macro level. And occasionally people listen, right? And that was one of those circumstances where we were invited by HUD to present on some of the data. And I mean, some of it's pretty obvious, though, right? Like this, we talked about the supply question, and there are enough bedrooms in most of our metropolitan areas to house every homeless person, like today. Uh, and there are enough empty bedrooms to house virtually everyone who is struggling to afford their home today. Like those options exist. It's simple mathematical equation. And so I think that's probably pretty attractive to policymakers who recognize, okay, well, if we're talking about 7.5 million homes shortage, and then you look at what it costs to build a new apartment, or at least to subsidize a new apartment. I mean, you're talking about $4+ trillion just to create the housing. Forget about the cost to actually um, subsidize the ongoing rental amounts where there may be a gap between what someone can afford and what the market rate is to run that unit. And so anyone who just looks at the simple math can start to recognize this doesn't work. Like we do not have within the traditional set of government tools, whether that is low-income housing tax credits or housing choice vouchers, or traditional social housing programs. You don't have enough tools to get there, and even if you did have the funding, you don't have the staff to implement it, and more importantly, you don't have the time. If you look at the number of units that have been created over the last 30 years by low-income housing tax credits, it's only 106,000 units a year. Okay, well, 7.5 million. Yeah, I'm not that good at math, but I know that that's a really long time for people who need a place to live today. And so that's really what boggles the mind for me from a lot of our critics on the policy side, is like, okay, like I've seen and explored almost every solution there is, and I've tested most of them. You tell me your solution. If you've got one, if you've got something better, like, let's roll. Go do it. Uh, but at the end of the day, it's like, oh well, that's not my expertise. I'm not supposed to solve it. Somebody else is going to solve it, or we just need more money. And for me, it's like, if you're not willing to put your time, forget about your money, put your time where your mouth is, and actually go out there and take some action, then just get out of the way.